This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 48 local dispensaries, 14 cultivation sites, and 13 processing facilities, serving up more than 150,000 registered medical marijuana patients. Check them out over at curaleaf.com, spelled Curaleaf. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Thursday, August 22nd, 2019, and you're tuned in to episode 782 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Online marijuana directory site Weedmaps announced yesterday that it would start to require that cannabis companies listing on their website be state licensed, a departure from their long-held policy to accept any business listing, licensed or otherwise. That means that there are currently a lot of illicit and unlicensed companies found at weedmaps.com, particularly in California, something that legitimate and licensed shops have rightly pointed out to be harmful to their line of business. Weedmaps has faced a lot of pressure over that policy over the last few years, including a cease and desist letter sent by California state cannabis officials in February of last year. John Schroyer over Marijuana Business Daily has a good piece on this and is reporting that a bill passed earlier this summer in the California legislature that levies a $30,000 a day fine on unlicensed businesses was probably a major factor in Weedmaps' policy change. Zip over and give it a read. The California State Supreme Court just issued a ruling in a case involving medical marijuana that could have a statewide impact on cannabis dispensaries. The case involves the city of San Diego, which was sued for not adequately studying the environmental impact of new laws allowing for medical marijuana dispensaries to open. In the ruling, the court's justices found that cities and towns are required to run analysis of how marijuana laws or zoning rules would affect the local environment. That could potentially delay the expansion of the legal cannabis industry, as it appears now that there's a new step that needs to be completed in any place considering the allowance of cannabis businesses. It's not quite clear yet how this affects existing shops, either in San Diego or in other parts of the state, so we'll keep an eye on this to see how things develop. We jump up to Canada for our final top story today, as the province of Ontario held a lottery yesterday to select the winners of 42 new marijuana dispensary licenses, which will bring the total number of shops in the province to 75. In all, just under 4,900 applications were put in for those 42 licenses, which include 8 dispensaries in First Nations communities. Ontario has been slow to roll out its legal adult use system, taking 6 months before allowing its first dispensary to open up, and is criticized even now for how few shops it's allowing. By way of comparison, the province of Alberta, which is about 2/3 the size of Ontario and that has less than 1/3 the population, has 270 licensed marijuana dispensaries. And as of last year, the city of Denver, Colorado had 364 dispensaries all by itself. Ontario officials said after the lottery drawing that it was likely the last time they'd be giving out licenses this way. Zip over to Marijuana Business Daily for more on the license winners selected. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 48 local dispensaries, 14 cultivation sites, and 13 processing facilities, serving up more than 150,000 registered medical marijuana patients. We're super happy to have Curaleaf as our new exclusive multi-state cannabis operator sponsor here at MJ Today Media. Curaleaf wants you to live life well, which is why everyone there has put so much time and energy into developing their wide array of legal cannabis products, which range from their Curaleaf medical marijuana line to Yuku Craft Cannabis and Curaleaf Hemp. Wherever your needs lie on the legal marijuana spectrum, Cureleaf is there for you. Just open up cureleaf.com today to check out all the places where Cureleaf is presently doing business, because there's no better way to experience the Cureleaf difference than by making a visit yourself. That's cureleaf.com, spelled Curaleaf. Big thanks to everyone at Cureleaf for the support that makes today's show possible. All right, time for the Blitz. South Dakota's Rapid City Journal has an important story up about a Colorado man facing years in prison after he was arrested last month while driving through the state with a large load of industrial hemp. We've seen this storyline pop up a few times before in other states in the last year, as confusion still reigns at the state level over the legality of industrial hemp, made legal on the federal level in last year's Farm Bill. 41-year-old truck driver Robert Hertzberg was pulled over last month in Jackson County, South Dakota, and had his vehicle searched after police say they smelled marijuana, which Mr. Hertzberg explained was industrial hemp. The cops arrested him and are now charging him with serious drug felony charges, saying the cannabis seized was not industrial hemp. Mr. Hertzberg has since bonded out of jail but awaits final judgment in the case. Best of luck there. Continuing on the storyline of general confusion over all things hemp, we have CBC News reporting that a Canadian woman has been turned away from the border with the United States by U.S. Border Patrol agents and sent home with a $500 fine and a lifetime ban from ever entering the U.S. again because she had a small bottle of CBD oil in her purse. CBD is legal in both Canada and in Washington state, where the unidentified woman was trying to cross into, and industrial hemp is now legal at the U.S. federal level, but apparently it's not legal to have when you cross into the United States. It's so not legal that if you have it, you're told you can never, ever come back again. Read this story today. We have another hemp story, this time jumping down to North Carolina, where the state house voted 63-48 yesterday in favor of a farm bill that had just been scrubbed of an amendment lifting a newly imposed ban on smokable hemp. By definition, the only thing differentiating legal industrial hemp and illegal marijuana is the amount of THC in it. So as we've been tracking here lately, there's a lot of new confusion at the state level on how to deal with cannabis prosecutions, especially for lower level crimes where it's cost prohibitive to actually test the amount of THC in a seized sample. The Farm Bill now heads back to the North Carolina Senate for consideration there, where there's support for delaying the ban until next summer. So we'll have to wait to see how that plays out. Michigan State is holding a series of seminars next month for people interested in getting into that state's new legal adult use marijuana industry. The seminars are free but have limited space for each, so it's probably not a bad idea to click over for details and to register. Each of the seminars is slated to run for 3 hours each and will be held all over Michigan. Marijuana Business Daily has more there. Yesterday, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency announced an open call for public input on the use of 10 different pesticides on industrial hemp. The 10 proposed pesticides are clear for use on other agricultural crops, but not yet hemp. The EPA says it's working to have the process finalized in time for next year's growing season. The Growth Op has a useful story up about a survey recently conducted in Canada about how people feel about warning labels on marijuana edibles. While this story is obviously a bit local to the Canadian market, at the same time, people are people, so I think there's something to be learned in clicking through to the survey's results, which show that Canadian officials still have some work to do to refine printed warnings about mixing edibles with alcohol. It also found that consumers tend to reject over-the-top warnings about the worst possible effects of cannabis. Like I said, give this one a read. And finally for today, we have a prediction made yesterday on Bloomberg TV by Brendan Kennedy, CEO of Canadian marijuana giant Tilray, that his company, which just released its latest quarterly financial results, will achieve profitability in Canada in, quote, the next quarter or two, unquote. Tilray has been particularly active in building out its international presence, where Kennedy said they'd similarly hit profitability in 2 to 3 quarters. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at MJ Today Daily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Cureleaf, and to our awesome Patreon listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the Patreon listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.